Hi, Dave Snyder here. It is the 21st night of March 2017. All right, so this picture right here is just, I don't know, it's one of the best pictures of weather I've ever saved, probably one of the better ones, like up there in the top 20, something like that. I mean, there's other ones that I haven't even noticed yet that I saved that I never even used. I mean, a lot of them that I never used. Just saved them and put them away. And I'm sure they're probably pretty good too, but I'll get to them sooner or later. But this one here is just beautiful. It's over. This weather is over North America. If I turn the borders off, it just looks like we're looking at North America here. And that's the weather from, like, I don't know, 2.5 years ago, 2014, I think, actually, sometime in 2014. And wow, this weather pattern shows it all. This is it right here. This shows it. Shows placement. Shows placement of everything basically, and the associations they have within the placement. And what I want to show is, let me turn this off real quick. I want to show you this weather pattern over North America real quick. Oh, that was it, huh? Yeah. Okay, for the past couple weeks, I noticed this weather pattern over North America. Now you have to bring this closer together because, see, these two spots are the same spot. They overlap it. They do that on purpose. They do that shit on purpose, I'm telling you, to throw you off. So you have to bring this curve right here in a little bit, I think, to match up with this one, right? Just imagine it a little bit, not as wide as it looks right here, from this side to this side, because that's what it's making is a big circle. This whole thing is a big giant circle right here with this curve, and that you're seeing in the Atlantic right here, this big curve that we see all the time, really. I mean, not all the time, but it's there a lot. It's there often. It has its own seasons that it's there. And it's Easter right now. This is your Easter egg right here. This is the Easter egg right here. That's your Easter egg. Anyways, or part of it anyway. Actually, the whole thing. So that's making this big circle, and I've showed before the big circles on the Earth many times. Turn this off now. So I saved a picture of that weather last night, and I overlaid it over here. Now this is the ring of life, I call it the ring of the Earth. I'm going to call it that. It's the ring of the Earth. And the moon has a ring too that matches this ring. That's why it's like the wedding ring. The Earth and the moon both have a ring, and I mean, that's at the end of Sailor Moon, Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. They're getting married. You know what I mean? The moon and the Earth are get married at the end of the show. So I mean, it's the same thing. That's what they were representing was when you get married, you go on a honeymoon, right? Honeymoon. Okay, so it comes from that. This is the ring of the Earth. And the moon has its own ring too. She has her own ring too. Okay. So that circle that I just showed you fits right over this right here. This is the same size as the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle. This is the exact same diameter as those circles. So it's just an interesting thing to point out. Let me turn on the this overlay real quick. Got to get back down here. And it should be that one. So this is weather last night, and I'm not saying it can't be aligned perfect. It's impossible to align it perfect and get the whole thing, because you see only this curve is only in one instance. You see it right on this one. Here's Florida, and you see Florida again right there. So if you can't really, you know what I'm saying? You can't really get this one where it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be over here, or like right here, you know, a little bit further in. So it's kind of screwy, but it still makes a big circle, and it works anyway. You just don't get the center very well. But that's the same thing right there. And I don't know how many times I've had Mexico over here, you know, and showed that many times. It goes in this spot. Definitely does. I mean, not in this spot, but they're associated, I should say. They're associated with each other. These circles are associated. They're created by the same thing, the same force. And it's the moon. It has to be the moon, because the moon fits every orifice of the damn Earth. You know, every spot on the Earth is a moon print, basically, almost. Something like that, anyway. But that goes with that somehow. Pretty close, accurate alignment. If I had the proper picture, it'd be cool. But I don't. I can probably get one. Okay, so now I'm going to do something a little just build the supercontinent again real quick, just to show and explain a couple things about that. So we got Australia, the newest continent on the planet. It's the youngest. They call it the youngest. It's the most recent to become a continent. So if you look at it, it's all red, and it's just like full of iron. You can see that it's iron rich, right? But it's like that because it was the land down under. It was literally the land down under, where all of the heavy materials, when everything's molten, all of the heavy stuff sinks to the bottom. The gold and the iron and the lead, whatever, all that heavy stuff goes to the bottom of the pot, basically. And then when it cools down, that stuff's down there, and the lighter layers are up above it, right? Well, they call this the land down under. It's not because it's down low wherever it is. It's because it was literally the land down under all the other land. The other continents were on top of this, built on top of this, and moved aside or something. But this was the land down under, the bottom one. Newest continent to come up. So I want to show you, first I want to show you this Africa alignment I did a couple weeks ago. This one here. I seen in the weather pattern right here. There was a weather pattern right here that I knew was from the Sahara Desert. I knew it was definitely Sahara Desert. So I put Africa, overlaid it here, right? And it fit the weather perfect. But now I noticed when I did that, all of this was right in the right place. Watch. Turn on the borders. You can see that see how the borders go right around this? That is absolutely perfect and exactly what it should do. This is right where it was at one time, because all this weather fits Africa over here, and those borders just happen to line up perfectly right there. And then when you look at it, you just go, oh yeah, there it is. See this? Watch. You can just see it. You can see that dark spot under Lake Victoria. That's the same thing. Those are associated with each other somehow. They're related. The geology matches. I bet you the geology matches there. You would find the same thing at the same level. It'd be the same rock or whatever. Okay, so that builds one side, and that's just one continent that's over the top of Australia so far. Now I take away Africa for a minute. I'm going to bring up Antarctica, which is without ice, and it's the exact same shape as Australia is. I mean, you see there's the borders right here. It's the same thing. There's other areas of the Earth that are the same thing too as Australia, and I'm going to show you that too. But here you go. That's the same thing. So Antarctica was also built from the same hole, or the same force in the same spot, on top of Australia. Before Australia was, moved. It must have moved off the top or something, went south, and then exposed, something like that. That's what we need to figure out. I think we all need to get together and figure all this out like this, and so we could have like multiple people on the same level, talking about it. People would take it more serious, I think. And then we need to agree on the size of the moon too. We need to figure that part out. I think that's important, because that's something that definitely needs to be talked about, and it's pretty straightforward. Someone that can explain things good would have no problem explaining that. I have a friend, Bill. If he denied any of this stuff was true, so I couldn't get him to do it, but he denies it. I showed him so many things, and I go, "What about this? What about this?" And he wasn't going for it. Nope. So, anyways, we got this here. Anyway, now we got 3 continents together, all in one spot. Those were definitely all built from the same thing, and Africa was definitely like this, with these things like this at the same. I don't know about the same time, but they're related. Okay, so now on this side, here, let me bring up North America now. Just bring up the North America. The one I started the video out with, that picture is the best. North America Super. This one here. This is the most beautiful picture. Top 20 at least. It's got to be. Just the shape, and seeing this big circle over this area of the United States right here is just perfect. Just perfect. I think it is, because what this shows is South America right here. See this? This is showing South America. This weather that's over North America, over the United States, basically, that's showing South America, and it shows the falcon is created by South America, the shape of South America. That, you know, the falcon we see in the Atlantic and the falcon we see in the Pacific, that even shows that in the Pacific, South America was here. You know what I'm saying? It shows that it was absolutely here too, on this side of on this coast, because it shows that falcon pattern shows over here too. So it has to be over here, and it has to be over here, because it starts up. I don't know. Most people don't know what I'm talking about, but this is like a falcon pattern. This North America one right here, it looks like a falcon sometimes. The Atlanta Falcons, if you look at it, you know, certain times without this curve here, but this goes right here. You can see it on the ocean floor and everything. And just look at that. Ooh, there it is. See the center is green? It's right in the center of the circle. Okay, so that weather shows South America was there. So I bring up South America. Oh, not that one. This one. Come on. What are you doing? Okay. So South America, bring that up. And we can see I don't have it perfectly aligned with the Andes, but those are the Andes shown in the weather there. The weather shows you the surface of the earth, people. That's what I've been trying to tell people that forever. If you're still watching this video, the weather that you see above in the sky and the satellite images, that stuff's coming from the ground. It's shaped exactly like the ground is shaped. That's how it gets its shape. Weather gets its shape from the surface of the earth. So right below this somewhere, there's a big hole. This is on the earth. This pattern is on the earth. You're seeing in the sky. So it shows there's a big hole somewhere in this area. Okay? And it shows that Lake Victoria was associated, which is a volcano. Lake Victoria was a big giant volcano. This one here. Lake Victoria ends up being right there by Montana and Wyoming, right there by Yellowstone. So it was associated too. Yellowstone was associated with Lake Victoria as being a big giant volcano. And that's what that shows. And it shows also that South America had to be right here while Africa was over there. Unless Africa was over here, you know what I'm saying? Africa was this is definitely a proper orientation of Africa with South America or with Australia. They go together exactly like this. There's no question. That's for sure. The weather showed, everything shows it. It's confirmed. Okay, so this one here might be just a little off. South America might be a little bit off of that North America pattern, but this North America pattern is a for sure too over the top of this stuff. You see the same muffin pattern. That's a for sure. You see that big hole? It falls right in this area of Australia. Well, you know when they shut off that strip of the satellite that comes right down here? Well, the other day I turned this on while that was shut off, and this thing falls right in the middle of the slot. This right here is right in the middle of the slot. It's missing. And there was weather around the outside, like this part was like there, but you couldn't see this part because that whole strip was shut off. And it just blocked out right to the edge here, right to the edge here, and this thing, you couldn't see it. There was no weather in that slot that this would be in. So I have to imagine that they're hiding a pretty major weather circle right there or something, I would think. That, you know, when it's there, they shut the satellite off because it's probably pretty obvious. Must be. Never used to do that before. So anyway, that's important. That supercontinent thing is important. It shows all the continents together like that with Antarctica and everything. Antarctica was there. You can see that it was the same spot, all created from that same hole. I think that it's just cool the way that Africa looks, with the way it's got that. This part looks cool, and then you got South America with the other being the other side right here, like this, just like that. Look, you see that's what it builds. And this pattern right here where it slides out. That's somewhere right in this area. I know it is. I recognize it. It's somewhere like right here somewhere, or maybe it's right here actually. Let's see. It hits there. This should be. We need to find where this goes over, centers over the this area or something. It probably goes right there. Pull this hole right up to that spot where the deepest place on Earth is, and that's probably where this goes right here. Actually, I know it does because I've done some alignments up there with it already in the past. So that's the hole where everything comes from. I think that's interesting to know. I think it's interesting to know the weather is definitely what is shaped by the surface of the Earth. So once you figure that out, you'd be able to put the pieces together pretty easily and just go for it. The patterns take a while to recognize, but that's a it's just weird how it takes South America from being on this side of Africa, which I tried to fit it so many times. It does not fit over here on this side of Africa. This part of South America does not fit there. I think it was together this way. I think this whole area was like one thing, and it was nailed right there by something. And then it slid down. It looks like it slid downwards. You see this like open groove down to the South Pole and dropped off the bottom of the Earth. Something like that. I don't know. I just added that part for fun. All right, everybody, have a good night. Thank you for watching. I mean, I'm serious. We need to get together and figure the whole, some key points out on this. Just the important stuff, and get it settled on that so we can, be taken serious on it, because it is serious. This is what they are showing. It's not what it may not be there, but it's what they're showing, and it's definitely a pattern that keeps going together the same way every time. I mean, trust me, I've done this so many times. It goes together the same way every time, and I'm not even trying to. I'm using another way to align it, and it just ends up being in the same way I aligned it the last time. With that, while I was aligning some other part of the picture. So it's definitely, it goes together every time. The pieces are there. That's what they're showing us. So, I mean, if that's what they're showing us, I think more people need to see it. You know what I mean? More people definitely need to see it. Just so they can understand, okay, so what I'm learning here is bullshit, maybe. Time to ask some questions. I don't know. Nobody wants to rock the boat. Bunch of pussies. I don't know. Have a good day, though. Have a good night. Thank you for watching.